A Plague Tale, Requiem PC system requirements announced. A Plague Tale, Innocence gained traction for its excellent storytelling and graphical fidelity back when it first came out, and soon, the sequel, A Plague Tale, Requiem, will look to raise the bar in both of those areas. Ahead of the game's launch next week, Asobo has now revealed the game's PC system requirements, with the minimum targeting 1080p/30 FPS. A Plague Tale, Requiem picks up right where the previous game left off. Amica and Hugo have successfully escaped their homeland, and now, they must figure out how to control Hugo's curse, while also getting acclimated to new regions. The game promises a full new adventure and breathtaking visuals. The minimum system requirements for Requiem, via Steam, are essentially the same as the recommended requirements for the first game, calling for an Intel Core i5-4690K or AMD FX-8300 CPU and a GTX 970 or Radeon RX 590 graphics card to get the 1080p/30 FPS experience using the low preset. The recommended system requirements are much higher and target 1080p/60 FPS using ultra settings. Minimum requirements. OS, Windows 10, 64-bit. CPU, Intel Core i5-4690K or AMD FX-8300. RAM, 16GB. GPU, NVIDIA GeForce GTX 970 or AMD Radeon RX 590. Recommended requirements. OS, Windows 10, 64-bit. CPU, Intel Core i7-8700K or AMD Ryzen 5 3600. RAM, 16GB. GPU, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 or AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT. Typically, the ultra preset in games tends to have a very high performance impact for little visual gain. While there are some exceptions to this, chances are you'll just need to fiddle with the graphics settings or drop down to the high preset to see a decent performance improvement. It is also worth noting that Requiem will have ray tracing features, and the system requirements don't specify if the recommended requirements were created with ray tracing in mind. Given that two recent ray tracing capable GPUs were chosen for the recommended spec, we would lean towards this being the case. Unfortunately, this does mean that the recommended PC system requirements aren't super useful. A lot of PC gamers don't have ray tracing capable hardware due to high prices and stock shortages. Many that do still choose to use normal lighting effects in order to save on performance. Hopefully, Asobo will take this into account and come up with a non-ray tracing spec too. Will A Plague Tale Requiem be on Game Pass? Much to the delight of all fans, it is confirmed that A Plague Tale Requiem will indeed be on Game Pass. Not only this, but the title will be a Day 1 release on Game Pass, coming out on the service the moment it launches on the 18th of October, 2022. Those who have yet to play the previous titles should consider doing so as soon as possible, since A Plague Tale Requiem is confirmed to be a direct sequel to Innocence and will be picking up right where the last game left off. A Plague Tale Innocence is currently available on Game Pass, and everyone with the service should definitely give it a go. For those willing to get Game Pass only for A Plague Tale Requiem, Xbox is very generous for newcomers, and deals as low as $1 for your first month show up frequently for Game Pass. This can be a great way of playing through all of both A Plague Tale games.